Hello, everyone. My name is Susie Sandoval, lifestyle organizing coach with Organize Zen. I know there are many of you that struggle out there with removing the unnecessary clutter from your lives. And it can be a very difficult process, very draining, and yet at the same time, when you make that decision to remove unnecessary clutter from your life, it can be life changing. I have been conducting research with powerful women as to how they're frustrated with clutter and what's been holding them back. And there was one woman that really stood out in talking with her and how she experienced life transformation from removing clutter from her life. And so I'm here with her today. I'd like to introduce you to Nancy Hines. Say hello.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, Nancy. I really appreciate you being here. I firmly believe that your story really touched me and inspired me, and I think it could do the same for others. And that's why we're having this conversation today. So I have just a few questions. Are you ready to dive in?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
we're going to dive into clutter here, clutter talk. So my first question for you is, how do you define clutter? What does that mean to you?
Clutter for me is anything in the way of me being able to think clearly.
Mm.
So that kind of so it can be thoughts, it can be people, it can be items, it can be a mess,
I love that you
whatever
say
is
that.
getting.
I love that you say that because so many people think it's things, it's just things. But as I've been diving more into my work, I've realized we can have very little physical clutter and still have mental clutter. We can have physical clutter and mental clutter and emotional clutter, things that get stuck in our body. And we can have people clutter, like you said, which is people that are draining us and that aren't serving in a positive way for the greatest good of our life. So I really, really like that you have a very well-rounded approach as to how what clutter really means to you. How did clutter impact your life? What were some examples?
Well, I work out of my home. I have worked out of my home for many years. And so you have to keep your home like house beautiful because people come into your space. And so what would happen is between clients or on days off, hours off, I was always picking things up, packing them away, packing them away, packing the same stuff away over and over. I couldn't get outside. I couldn't, I felt like I had no fun. I was just always cleaning.
Mm,
And,
yeah, it's
but
hard
it was the
when you.
same stuff.
Yeah, isn't it? I find that a lot of people, they really feel like it's hard to relax when there's so much clutter going on. Even when they do relax and kind of force themselves to, it's always in the back of their mind what needs to get done. And so that really makes it difficult to just relax and be at peace. So that totally makes sense, especially when you're having people, clients over to your space. And tell us a little bit about your work as well.
Well, I'm a reflexologist, and it's a body work that includes hands, feet, and ears. But really, what it is a de-stressor. It really is in those moments. I know on feet, hands, and ears where hormones and body organs and body parts are. So when people come to me and they have backaches or they have headaches, or even if they want to get pregnant, there are places on the hands, feet, and ears that I know work for those situations. So I'm always working with people. And stress, we are so marinated in stress these days that what my job really is to help people de-stress
So it
and
makes
heal
sense that,
themselves.
yeah, it makes sense that you had to de-stress your life, remove the things that were blocking you so you could better show up for your clients as well.
Exactly. That's
Okay.
why there's such a emphasis on cleaning.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so Have you had any clients notice the difference between before you had cluttered as to how it is now?
Well, I can't say that the clutter, most clients come and take a deep breath. They are already recognizing there is something different, although they can't really articulate it.
Yeah.
I really, this time with the clutter, I went into all the closets
Mm.
and I went into all the places where people might not ever see in order to get rid of all the extra stuff. And
Okay.
that made a difference to me.
Mm. That totally makes sense. So you were able to, and a lot of people do this. So if they are having people over, you were able to kind of shove the stuff that was getting in the way in the closets and stuff, so that you could have a peaceful atmosphere. But the difference is this was really about you and getting into those closets and making a change so people can feel it, but it really made an impact on you as well. Is that what I'm hearing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, were there things in the past that you tried to do to remove that like that excess clutter? Um, were there things that you had tried previously?
Well, Susie, it was always cleaning up the same stuff, always packing away the same stuff. Even, I'm looking right now at a drawer that had way too many utensils in it. So I just opened up the drawer and took out all the extra spatulas and just stuff. And the cupboards, all the extra jars, all the extra glasses that I hated feeling in my hand. So I just got rid of all of that by giving it to Goodwill and passing it on. But that was the truth about everything. So when I did that, I was no longer bothered. And so you can keep cleaning up the old stuff, which is the old way, until you finally say, I don't need this. I don't want this. I don't use this. This really is draining my energy. That's what I got rid of.
Thank you. Did you notice, what am I trying to say here? Did you notice those things before that they were negative energy and then, you know, I, and then,
Well,
yeah.
I didn't, I can't, no, I can't because I consciously didn't make a change. Then I read this little book called The Life Changing Magic of Tidying Up.
Can you show us the
And
book?
yeah, here's the book. And it's like $17.
Uh-huh.
And I just spent the money and I began getting up like at 5:30 in the morning and reading this book. And one of the first things she said in it is, you might notice that you lose weight. You might notice that you get divorced. You might notice that you get married. I mean, it will have a profound effect on your life. And that appealed to me. I
You
was
were
ready for
ready
a
for a
profound
big,
effect.
you were ready for a significant change. And that seemed
Right.
to really touch you and inspire you to take
Yeah.
action in a new way. Wonderful. Um, what was the most, when you decided to, you got into reading this book and you started to follow some of the wonderful wisdom that was shared in it, what was the most, was there challenges along the way of removing that clutter as you were going through this process? Because like you said, relationships that are ending and things like that can be very challenging. But what were there any challenges that were that came your way when it came to removing clutter?
I'll tell you why there was not, and that's because I live pretty cleanly, so it wasn't like I had bags and bags and bags, which this book talked about people having 23 bags to take to Goodwill. I didn't have that. But what happened is in the book it said you need to be cleaning for some purpose bigger than just cleaning up this mess. And my purpose was to have more fun, to have time to play, that on the sunny days that I actually could go out and walk in the neighborhood instead of staying and cleaning up. So the house has now stayed remarkably straight. Um, and I have actually, in the last few months, gone and planted a garden in the backyard and a garden in the front yard of where I live, which is, I never had time for that before. And now I'm watching little things grow and I'm really delighting in the garden in a way I never did before.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't know what's next. That is the excitement of having space, having new time.
Well, I hear that you're excited about it, and many people are fearful. So that's a change of perception in itself. You've created some life changing, positive changes in your life so it can excite you for the future. Um, what would you say to someone that feels like they don't have enough time to get organized? What would you say to that? Because you were there, right? You were at a point where you felt like you,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, the question the book asks for me really is what is missing in my life that I have no time for? It's a kind of a reverse of the question is what would I really rather be doing than cleaning up the same old stuff that isn't bringing me much joy, just packing it away, packing it away. I had all of these bins of rags to use for cleaning. I got rid of half of them, so now I have a little neat container of rags for cleaning. And that made a bunch of space in my laundry room. So I just went around, I cleaned out the cupboard in that's just kind of what it did. I have less to take care of. And so I don't have to manage all that.
Yeah. Wayne Dyer has a quote that says, "The more you own, the more that stuff owns you." And that really seems
Right.
relevant to what you're saying. And so I really believe that, for people that do value this and they're really, really ready for significant changes, that exactly what you said, when you invest time up front, like reading this book or bringing a friend over to help you or hiring a professional, when you make that decision to make this investment in your life up front, it is going to be an investment, but it's going to be something that pays off and expands your time in the future. And so many people are so like feeling that hyper rush and busyness that it's difficult for them to slow down to really value and make space for this kind of investment. And something seems like it really shifted with you that you finally were like, enough is enough, and took action to do something differently.
And this has happened in stages because I have hired professional people to come in and help me sort. I had someone come in and help me in the kitchen with every cupboard and drawer about 2 years ago, and um, it it was remarkable what we got rid of. And yet, there was still more that I didn't really use and need. But it's hard to say goodbye to all those things. It's like, oh, I'm swimming in this stuff. And I actually had someone help me clean the garage. And after about working on it for 2 hours, we came to kind of an impasse. And she said, okay, this is all I'm doing today. Until you're really ready to give the rest of this stuff up, we're done. And she just kind of called me on my inability to make any more decisions.
I really appreciate you saying that because I do find the same thing. I have different techniques to help my clients work through those phases because sometimes you're not ready to let go of them, especially when you haven't seen them for so long, when you're uncovering things. It's kind of a new excitement for some of those things. And so you're not ready to let go of them. You want a little bit more time, but reevaluating at a later date brings a new perspective. And so that's what I hear in those phases of what you experienced as well. So I really like that you brought that up because I often say it's not just about getting rid of things, it's about keeping what you love. And so if you're not ready to get rid of something or gift it or donate it or let it go, then there's some more meaning to that. It has some more meaning to you. And that's why having a good friend, a professional organizer, a great book to help you decide what kind of meaning that has and is it still relevant for you. So I really love that you said that. What would you say have been the greatest, has made the greatest difference in how is life now that you have been clutter free? Are you completely clutter free? Are there more spaces that you want to tackle?
Right. go back out in that garage. And all the things that Kim said to me, what about this? What about this? Um, I wasn't ready. And so so I had a lot of plastic bins. And so she just said, this is for camping. I haven't gone camping in 15 years, but I don't want to give away my camping stuff. And I was thinking, what the heck, Nancy? You can't park your car in the garage because you're holding on to camping things. You can't park your car in the garage because you're holding on to hobbies you don't even do anymore. So I'm quite looking forward now to going back out and being more ruthless in the garage.
Wonderful. And so, how does it feel to be clutter free compared to how it was before?
I am able to think much more clearly. I have tackled some big projects lately that I wouldn't have thought could have because I couldn't clear the space. Um, I have been, it has to do with finances, setting everything up on QuickBooks and doing QuickBooks every morning so that I know where I am with my finances every day. It has to do with clients and how I communicate with them and knowing who's new and how often they've come and how to take better care of them. I have taken on a position with the board of my condominium, and I can think much more clearly when all of these things come through. So I've been able to help. I'm just much more available to the people that need me.
Oh, that's beautiful. That is what, and isn't that what we ultimately want is to be able to make a difference and an impact in our everyday life?
That and being more clear where we're going. Because with all the chaos in my mind, I am ADD, and with all the chaos in my mind, it is imperative that I don't live with chaos around me. And I have finally gotten to the place where everything is flat, everything is calm. And I'm not, when then life happens, because life happens, I'm not so thrown anymore. I can actually take a deep breath and have a thought about how to work through this.
I really want to. There's so many other questions I have, but I definitely want to honor your time, and I really want to thank you again. For those of you that are out there watching, may this message inspire you in some sort of way to take action, take new change, and really connect with what Nancy was saying earlier is have a vision. What's your purpose? It's not just about getting rid of things. Why do you want to do this in your life? Are you ready to make these changes? Why is that important to you? So you can learn more about getting organized on my website at www.organizezenliving.com. I also have more videos to share to help inspire you along the way. Nancy, is there anything else that you would like to add or some wisdom that you'd like to share or message to anyone out there that's really struggling but really, really is ready for change?
It has something to do with stress. We are all living with so much stress that the more that we have, and we don't have a lot of control over a lot of things, but we do have control over how much we live with and how much we manage in our homes. And so to de-stress, it also has it's a big line to decluttering, I have found.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you again, Nancy. And until next time, stay tuned and we'll talk to you again soon.